Welcome, everybody. If you're watching or listening, hello.
Hi.
My name's Laura.
And I'm Madi.
And we are backing the Barricade. But
now we're also beyond the Barricade.
Yeah. So this is our first podcast episode that we're releasing.
Yeah.
And some people are like, wait a second, what's happening to backing the Barricade? Oh, no. And we're like, hold on, everybody. Nothing is happening. We are just essentially flipping the narrative. And so if you have no idea what the fuck we're talking about, we're going to tell you right now. We're going to break it down very easy, as if you are 5.
Yes. So basically this all started with backing the Barricade, which if you're not following along, we're on Instagram, we're on TikTok, we're on all the things. Backingthebarricade.com. You can find us everywhere.
We're not on LinkedIn.
No, we're not. I'm so sorry. If you are looking for us on LinkedIn, we unfortunately are not there. Man, should we do that?
No. Yeah.
Okay, great. Nope. So we are backing the Barricade. Mm-hmm. The heart behind this publication that we started is basically we are both concert photographers by trade, and we really felt that there was a need to tell the fans' side of the story because we didn't really see anyone doing that. And we've met so many cool people that have so many cool stories and ties to the music that we're all there to listen to, or meeting people at shows, and so many cool stories that we just wanted a place to tell them.
Showcase them. Yeah, exactly. And then it all starts from there. And so anything that we do is going to be about the fan's point of view.
Yes.
And so
if you want a more in-depth explanation of all of this as well, we do have an intro podcast episode that kind of explains how this all started, how we met, kind of really how this all came about. So if you really want to know the backstory, we've got an episode for that.
We do, yes. You can go listen to that one. It'll go much more in depth. But the whole kind of premise and what is beyond the Barricade is us flipping that narrative of still being involved as a fan story point of view, but that didn't make sense. Beyond the Barricade is still essentially going to be about fan stories and what it's like to be a fan, but instead of it being from the fans going to the shows, we are really highlighting the artists themselves and the people in the music industry. And it started from like a random idea that I had one day driving home from your house, and I called you up frantically, or I left you like a voice note.
You left a voice note.
Yeah,
and you were like,
do.
I've got it.
I said, this is what we need to do now. And I went on like a little rant, and we are doing it. And so we are talking to artists, lighting designers, tour managers, makeup artists, like guitar techs, like whatever people that are like involved in the music industry. We're talking to them about their stories essentially as, whenever they were a fan, and how that has really helped them to work into working in the music industry full time. Yeah. Music industry full time. I can talk, maybe.
So we're kind of backing up and talking to them about their experience before they were where they are now. And again, it's approaching it from that fan point of view.
Yeah. Yeah. I think my whole like tagline that I mentioned to you when I was like proposing the idea was like everybody who worked in the music industry was at some point like a fan.
Yeah.
And only a fan. And they still are. Yeah. Correct. Yes. But there was one point in time where they were truly just a fan of music. They didn't just get like birthed into a artist or whatever. So, we are just sitting down with everybody, talking to them about, who are they fans of? Why has that impacted their lives and all of the things. Yeah. And this episode is our very fun one, I think.
It was a cool one to start with.
It was. We sat down with Max Bemis of Say Anything, their very first night of the 20th anniversary of It's a Real Boy. And
this was his first tour in a minute.
Yeah. It was his first tour in a minute, at least first major headlining tour. They've done a few festivals and stuff here and there. They did when we were young. And
I think a few one-off shows here and there, but they haven't gone on a tour in I think he said 5 or 6 years.
Yeah, it was something like that. It was something insane. And so we talked about, the differences in his life today. And then when the album
20 years ago, 2 decades.
2 decades. Lots of children have been had.
Yes.
Lots of lives have been lived. So that's what you guys are about to listen to. And it's a good one. It's a solid one. Any gaps in the conversation are us holding our breaths because my cats love the fact that the living room is rearranged for a podcast setup, and Robbie just wants to be a part of it all.
Oh, yeah. If you're watching the video of this, I feel like our set looks really nice. If you could see that side of it, it is just mayhem because I've rearranged L'Oreal's entire living room to accommodate for this, and the cats are
yes,
curious as to what is happening.
But they're doing so much better than they were last time.
They are.
So we've tried to do this once or twice. But yes, anyway.
Robbie's trying his hardest to stop this recording on my laptop, but it's okay.
It's okay. He is sound engineer.
Yep.
Anyway, all of that to say, thank you so much for tuning in. This is Beyond the Barricade, a Backing the Barricade production. Mm-hmm. And you guys are about to listen to Max Bemis of Say Anything.
We hope you enjoy it.
Yeah.
Welcome back. I am Maddie.
I'm Laura.
And today we're going Beyond the Barricade with Max Bemis from Say Anything.
I am me.
And we are on opening night of the 20th anniversary tour of Is a Real Boy.
Yeah.
That's insane. How are you?
It is insane. It is insane. It is insane. I'm doing great. I'm really doing great. Very surreal, but not because of the 20th anniversary, just because I am like a dad.
Yes.
So I'm spending most of my time doing that. And the band kind of broke up for a while. So, this is the first proper tour we've done in, I think, 7 years,
okay.
six years. So my reality is just very different than this.
It is.
Most of the time. I still play music for a living, so I'm always recording or dealing with something involving music, but it's really different to step out. As it was surreal to play those festivals we play when we were young and Riot Fest, so just surreal.
Yeah. That's a perfect way to put it. It's kind of like you never left music. It's never left your life.
Not really, no. Yeah. I mean, I would say that, I'm so sorry.
The clown ambiance.
Yeah, we'll pretend it's that. So, technically, it never left my daily life. I still listen to music constantly. It's really important to me. And then making it took over. We were making our record, the newer record that's coming out, for a long time, and I produced it mostly. So it was like me alone in a room. But still, it's almost a cushy. I don't want to sound for some bands that's not the case, but when you've been a band for 25 years, hopefully, unless you're like fully whatever Anvil, the band Anvil, you do get some cushy elements coming into play, just people working for you. So to me, that's the most surreal element, is people handing me, like my in-ears, put these in. They're for you. Yeah. It's for you. I'm like,
okay,
I'm not getting someone cereal right now. Right. So that's the weird thing. And that is really different than even working in a studio.
For sure.
You know
Absolutely.
what I mean? It's certainly hard work, but it's an entitled, privileged hard work.
It is. You've earned it, I think.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I want to just bring us back really quick to 2006.
Okay.
I am walking in the hallways of middle school with my iPod video. We're dating it here. Yep.
Yeah.
And I am with my best friend, and we are getting in trouble for blasting Wow, I Can Get Sexual Too.
Yeah.
And I think that it's so catchy because then again in 2011, I was able to pick up the song and I still know it. And we even we pulled some comments people have left saying that honestly, there's a clear, apprehensive and indecisive theme to this entire song that's simultaneously relatable and anxiety inducing. And then other ones,
Yep.
My brain cells decided that they wanted the song after 5 years of not hearing it, trying to find this based off of a melody. And I finally found it. Nostalgia at its finest. Haven't heard this song in years. And all of a sudden I wake up and it's stuck in my head. So here I am. And then one of our favorites was, it's so awesome how you can go years without even thinking about a song. And then you hear it and you still know all the lyrics.
Oh.
And so,
same.
2 decades later, and it's still happening. Was there a certain song for you while you were making this? Or even now that you're just like, I can go back and hear a song and I'm there, like I know it by heart?
Yeah, a lot of hip hop songs for me are like that. The first song I think I ever learned all the lyrics to that wasn't like a Jewish prayer I was made to learn in school was like a Tupac song, Hit 'Em Up. So I just, to this day, I know all the words.
That's amazing.
And I'll put it on and it just makes my kids really uncomfortable.
Which is a goal as a parent.
Love
I
that.
think.
Yeah, it just makes them, they're like, why do you, like, they get it a little more when it's like Kendrick Lamar or something. They're still uncomfortable. But like when it's something like Tupac, they're like, first of all, what is this sound of 90s, West Coast G-Funk? Secondly, why do you know all of it? Thirdly, why are you acting like you know his struggle in any way?
And you're like, let me educate you.
I'm like, I do. I was 12. It was hard.
Yes,
I was on the West Side. Ride till I die. Like, well, you don't know. You don't know.
Yes, exactly.
I love that.
Yeah.
To kind of piggyback off of that idea, we were also really curious as to going back 20 years when you were in the process of making Is a Real Boy, what were your major musical influences during that time? And did they have an impact on how you created the record?
Yeah, they were. I think, up to Is a Real Boy, they were, I always liked a lot of, I liked a variety of music, and it was never really, but, up to the point of making the record, we were really honed in on punk rock and the punk rock bands we were listening to at the time and wanted to sort of be and go on tour with and idolizing them. And I always loved everything. And Queen was a big influence before we made the record, like always in my life. So even compared more on my music than something like whatever, any punk band I was listening to at the time. But when we went in to make the record, both producers were very insistent, and in a good way, because I was down. When I told them what I wanted to do, they were like, don't compare yourself to Blink-182. Compare even if they're good or you really love them, listen to Bowie, listen to the Replacements, and listen to this stuff that is more of a stretch, so that when you go in there, you're competing with stuff that's all over the place, and you're not just trying to create a career for yourself because of what's working right now necessarily. And I think it's kind of a good strategy. I think if you go in as a musician or any kind of creative and you just kind of look at the people around you who are doing well, not because they're doing well, even if it's just because you love it. Yeah. Like if you're a director and you're just looking at then you overlook like Kubrick movies. You have to really be like, I can compete with Stanley Kubrick. If you're a director, because even if you're not objectively or in the eyes of the public, it really does help. He wouldn't have gotten anywhere, or like Spielberg wouldn't have gotten anywhere if he wasn't kind of trying to compete with his heroes. Yeah, you practice up. Yeah, you practice exactly. Yeah, you have to assume you might be better than anyone. You just don't know, and you're not the one. I tell this to my kids all the time because they're like, "Ew, it's so cringy. Everything I do." I'm like, "You don't know. You're not the judge of you. Exactly. In that you may say, I don't like this that I did, and that's your right, but give yourself the grace of that you're going to be your hardest critic, and you may not know all the fun ways you could take your creativity. That's perfect. Yeah. I think we kind of touched upon this before. I forget if we were recording or not, but your last time you kind of headlined a tour, played like a proper tour, it was like maybe 6-7 years ago. Yeah. Do you have any thoughts or anything kind of different, even from that long ago? That is, everything is different. I feel like from then. Yeah, because my eldest is 11. Sorry to just be the guy who always talks about his kids. But, I thought my life was different after having two. And that was where I was when we did our last big tour. And I was vastly different after having even my first kid. It was the immediate transformation. But I have 5. So it's a little different. It's full chaos. So I'm a very different person. And then also the world changed so fucking much. Even just the things that you were kind enough to read out from the message board or from comments. YouTube. Yeah. I love how message board, it updates me a little bit. Us too, yeah. But Discord said. Discord is, for Reddit, but still. I think even those biomes have changed so much, and I purposefully unplugged. That's something that I never really let myself do. Like, I'm going to take a break from Instagram for 7 weeks. Boom. Bye. And Yep. But I really didn't even say anything. I just did it because I found that it was unhealthy for me for a minute. And I enjoy it. I don't think social media is some gross thing, But at the same time, I would say that the Trump era was quite dark for a lot of people, and I was one of those people. I don't think it was as dark for him. I'll say he probably enjoyed the shit out of it.
Oh yeah,
I'd assume.
Yeah.
So it was a difficult time, and that's regardless of my extremely leftist beliefs. I just mean that personally, the world changed really intense. I'm sure it was like that for everyone on the spectrum of belief.
I don't think we were meant to have so many voices given to us at once.
Maybe not.
No, I don't think so.
You know,
Maybe, at least personally, I can't
personally.
comprehend.
How old are you? You said you're.
I'm 31.
Yeah, there you go. So
Yeah.
I think you know my kids, like my 11-year-old or my 9-year-old, they don't care.
Yeah.
They'll see Trump on trial or something, and they're like, whatever.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's yellow, whatever.
Yeah.
And you know, it doesn't. They're bred to not care about
Exactly.
it. I was bred in an AOL chat room at the most intense. You know, so
Oh yeah.
yeah.
My aim was insane.
Yeah.
Yep.
So with that in mind, I know it's opening night of tour. We're celebrating 20 years.
Yes.
And I know you've got a lot of fans that are going to be in the crowd that have been with you for 20 years. And obviously your life has changed. Their life has changed. Is there anything that you're hoping the fans get out of this tour, or you're hopeful that this show will bring?
I'm hoping that there's a message of resilience, because the fact that I'm even able to step onto the stage at this point, I've been through a lot in my life, you know, especially in this time that we were just discussing. It's really funny because I think there's a notion or some notion among the people who know my music, whether they like it or not, and especially for the people who do like it, I have been more private for a while. Weird things have leaked out, but at the same time, like, very inaccurate to the actual experience I've had. And it's been really difficult. It's actually been the most trying few years of my life. And that includes this record that was written about being hospitalized and all these sort of dark, dramatic. But I was 19. So even if not everyone's been hospitalized, a lot of people have mental health concerns. A lot of people go through rehab or abuse or recovery. Still, the past few years were really the worst in terms of like just the effect on me, and the fact that I'm able to step on stage and do this, and not just that, but really enjoy it.
Yeah.
I hope that people who have found something in my music that gives them the message, I can get through it too. Can be like, okay, I can see in this guy's eyes, he's seen some fucking shit.
Yeah.
Excuse my French. Le shit. He's lasheen some le shit. And I hope it just radiates off me as much as it does the joy of being here, and that I really don't take it for granted, and I don't take their passion and what they've put into it for granted at all. So if you can live that way, and I don't always live that way at all, you're gonna find more peace.
Yeah. Kind of wrapping it up. Last sort of question here. The whole kind of heart and premise of like backing the Barricade from everything we do. So we go and we talk to fans before shows about the artists that they have these like intense bonds and connections with. And then we talk to artists and talk about, you know, their point of view as a fan. We just, you know, we keep in mind that at some point in our lives, we're fans first and artists second. And you know, knowing that, we just kind of wanted to ask you, like, was there a certain moment as you as a fan watching a performance or learning a song or meeting one of your band idols, anything that really stuck with you, where it kind of flipped the switch where you were like, I want to do that? Like, you're kind of like, I want to play up to their level.
Yeah. There's so many. I mean, and it still happens.
Yeah.
It never stops happening.
I love that.
But the first time it probably happened was seeing Saves the Day at the Troubadour. I was 15.
Just that sentence right there.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was just because I had gone to shows before. My first show was Metallica, and it was amazing. But I didn't see myself doing it at that point, or B, looking at them playing this giant arena. Like, I can do this, and that has happened since then. You know what I mean? I've seen bands play really big shows and be like, I want to do that. But with Saves the Day, I was like, these guys are like 3 or 4 years older than me, and this is and they're in this club that's. It's not tiny and it's not huge. And bands do this. There are people who are basically teenagers. All they did was work really hard and be good. And that's it. And love it. And and I was like, I think I might be able to pull this off.
Feels a little more accessible.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's not and it's not for anyone. You know, now it looks very different. It's harder to be a touring band and all these things. But if you're just a random person anywhere in the world watching this, I mean, that career path, or even just putting a song on SoundCloud, suddenly it's like Girl in Red or whatever, you know, and and you're just then become the biggest artist of the year, you know, or Lorde, you know, it's like, or Billie Eilish. So I think if that still exists, it'll always exist, is that without human beings to some degree, you know, you're not going to have art being made at that level. So if there's someone you're looking at and you're like, oh yeah, I can never be, like I see my kids like that. I'm like, no, like she was once you. Yeah. You were them. You're the same.
To remember.
So it's vital.
Yes. Yeah. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you. We appreciate your time so much.
Oh,
First night of tour.
Same. Yeah.
We can't wait to see you out there.
Yes. Yeah.
Awesome.
So, hi. That was Max Bemis of Say Anything.
On his first night of tour.
Yeah. I almost just felt like a radio host, you know, like the late night like radio shows where like the like song ends and you're like, and you're listening to WFM blah, 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 blah.
That is what we're doing.
That is what we're doing right now. Anyway, yeah. What'd you guys think?
We had so much fun getting to talk to him. And he was also one of those people where we just walked in the room and he felt like a friend. He was so kind and so just so at ease and so comfortable, funny. Which was so fun.
Yeah. Fun fact too, if you're only listening to this on your phone, we have the video of this interview up where you guys can also watch. And there's audio in here where you're like, I have no idea what they're all laughing about. Watch the video. It's really funny. I think it adds a little extra element to it.
Yeah. Go on YouTube and you can get that extra little treat.
Mads, what was your like favorite part of this?
I really liked early on because I feel like I just kind of subconsciously can pigeonhole people into because he's in kind of like the pop punk rock scene that like I kind of think that's all people listen to, even though I know that's not true. But I feel like that just is subconsciously what I assume. So when we asked about his like early influences and what he listened to before becoming a musician and all that, I loved that he referenced first Queen, but then also that hip hop was such like a big influence on him, which was kind of surprising to me.
It is. I also liked the fact that he was naming these big bands when we asked him, like, you know, like what artists did you kind of see where you first envisioned like, oh my God, I can do this? And he did mention, what was it, like Metallica?
Yeah, Metallica.
But he was like, it wasn't them, even though I saw them when I was younger, but it was like the bands that were like smaller.
Yeah, the Saves the Day, I think you said.
The Saves the Day, yeah. And I'm like, holy crap, like that's so, at the Troubadour.
Yeah.
So cool.
And that's something that, as someone who's not like a musician or like on stage, like
performing.
Yeah. I don't think about the fact that like that can be so influential to see someone that you can you actually feel like it's kind of attainable as opposed to like Metallica just feels a million miles away.
Yeah, for sure.
So that was a really cool little point that he said. I really loved.
I can't believe I told Max Bemis about how my teacher yelled at me because I was listening to his music.
I love the reference to the iPod video, and that just,
you know,
it just dated all of this.
It did,
if the 20-year anniversary didn't already do that.
I know, and him asking me my age on the podcast.
We keep no secrets here.
No secrets. I have nothing to hide. Yeah, it's all good. Yeah. But yeah, that was Max Bemis. That was Saying Anything first night of tour. God, that was so fucking cool.
It was so cool.
Yeah.
And I hope everyone that got to catch him on that tour had the best time. I know we did.
Yeah. I hope everyone, he mentioned about, we asked him like, you know, what do you hope your fans take out of this? And he was like, I hope they still feel like that sense of like resilience.
Yeah. Which is really cool.
It was really cool because after seeing him perform, you're like, yes, so much has changed in your life, but that like, that foundation of like angst and almost like resilience, honestly, is still very, very present in his sound and his stage performance. And it was amazing. I'm getting like chills thinking about it because it was so rad. I loved it. Yeah. Thank you guys so much for listening and for giving us any moment of your time during your day. Yeah. We hope you enjoyed, and keep on listening because we have more episodes coming.
Yeah. And if you did enjoy it, feel free to leave us a review because that's how we get found.
That is
which is super sick.
Super cool. Yeah. You can rate and review the episode. You can follow us on Instagram, on TikTok.
all the things
YouTube. Yep. The videos will be up.
Yep.
So,
and then this episode is airing on a Monday just because it's the first one. However, following this, you can get new episodes every Tuesday.
Yes, Tuesdays will be the days. So,
and we've got some cool ones lined up.
We really do. Yeah, tune in on Tuesdays.
Yeah,
tune in Tuesdays.
We'll see you there.
Yeah. Bye, guys.
Bye.